This was your top 3 bodybuilders. At the 1983 Mr. Olympia event, Samir Banu, of course, captured that title infamously. Lee Haney was making his Mr. Olympia debut here, and he placed 3rd, the lowest that he's ever placed. And Mohamed Makkawy, the little guy at the end there, he actually got a rare victory over Lee Haney, placing 2nd. A lot of people say it was a fairly controversial victory due to that size advantage that Lee Haney had. Of course, Mohamed Makkawy, I believe this was his 3rd Mr. Olympia event. I'm sure somebody will correct me, but I believe it was his 3rd, in fact. And politics may have played an edge in that. And having the experience, you know what the judges are looking for. You have an edge in that aspect as well. But having said that, this is actually a fan-requested comparison of just these two. No Samir Banu. I guess there's no dispute that he won the title. And I actually did have a matchup between Samir and Lee. And I did give the victory to Samir. But these two, perhaps a more comparable pair, I guess. And right out of the chute, I have to warn you guys, there is not the 8 mandatory shots. There's not all the poses. And that's very disappointing. But I will be showing a little video footage at the end, and we can base our decisions on the conglomeration of the video and these photos. This is just a front relaxed position, and there's no real points being delivered because we don't have the rear relaxed, so you can throw the symmetry round out the window. Front double bicep pose. Now this is interesting. This is an actual side by each comparison, but Lee does not look as big as he probably should. Maybe Mohamed stepping forward. Lee's conditioning in the upper body looks a little bit better, but when I look at the legs, the separation, Mohamed with a smaller frame, he probably packs a bigger set of legs when you take into consideration the proportions. Here's another one here, and I have to say, this is before Lee got big, I guess. He had a lack of size here, and you can see those arms in the much smaller man. He looks like he packs more of a punch, and you look at the legs. I mean, Lee has the vacuum. And I like that, and I'm sure when they're standing in front of you, posing, that size of those lats is going to be overwhelming and maybe take a victory over Mohamed Makkawy, but I don't know. I look at those obliques, those abs. It's just a fantastic pose. I guess we'll look more into this at the video footage. I believe there's a front double bicep comparison, and I am not ignoring one thing in this, and that's those calves. Look at the size difference of the calves. Mohamed's taking Lee Haney to school. So I might lean towards Mohamed in the front double bicep. The front lat is a close contest. I mean, Lee even looks better. He's bigger, and plus he looks better. So this, like I said, this is a no contest, a no-brainer. Nobody in their right mind would ever give this one to Mohamed Makkawy. He doesn't look bad, mind you. But I think he's expanding his rib cage, and that takes away from those abs. When you're smaller, you definitely need the more defined cuts, the muscle separation, to ever get a victory against a much larger man, which is the case here. Now, the side tricep, hard to say from this angle here, and I showed this one at first just to get you guys riled up, I guess. I think Mohamed Makkawy would take Lee Haney to school in the side tricep. Back then, Lee did eventually get a more massive tricep, but if you are shaking your head now thinking that I don't know what I'm talking about, boom, take a look at this little comparison. Huh? Those who are disagreeing with me are probably agreeing with me now. Mohamed Makkawy had a side tricep from hell, and look at the size of him. He's just a little guy. It's like a Frank Zane. He has a big, massive tricep, bigger than his whole body. Anyway, just didn't mean to get you guys riled up, but I am pretty passionate about this side tricep victory. From the side, Mohamed was unbelievable. Pretty hard to get a victory on Lee Haney in the side chest, though. It was the fact that the tricep was so large, and here in the chest development, it's like I said, Mohamed, he's really going to have to look much more cut, and that's not really the case. So I think Lee would probably get one back in the side chest. Unfortunately, this is where the picture comparisons kind of hit a screeching halt. And this is the only really back shots, and I didn't even bother sizing this one up. I just Showed it because it was the only back shots that I could find. Mohamed Makkawy, he looks good, but he shied away from hitting the mandatory shots. Lee Haney, he's hitting basically the same pose, and you can see a bigger, better set of traps. There's more separation in his lats. He just has a bigger, better back development. So we can pretty much guarantee Lee would have got the victory in the rear lat and the rear double by. But we're looking at this ab and thigh shot, and we're just as guaranteed that Mohamed Makkawy would most certainly get a victory in this pose against Lee Haney. Lee, not the most aesthetic set of abs in the world. And with no actual most musculars being judged that year, we're going to put Lee Haney ahead by 1 point, just with the hypotheses that I would make with the missing poses, things of that nature. So really, it's a close one. But now, at this time, we'll look at a little bit of a video footage. You will have to excuse the footage. Not the best in the world, but I'm happy to have this. Now, that's what I was saying. The size of Lee, it's very presentful. And Mohamed, hold still, would you? You little sultan, you. I mean, he does have excellent condition, but you notice he wouldn't hold his pose. So it was hard to make a decision on that. I did give it to... Now, ooh, look at this front lat spread. No doubt, Lee's not only beating Mohamed, but he's beating the rest of the field here. There's Frank Zane, food for thought. Side chest. Here we go. Ooh, that does look good for Mohamed. See him twisting back and forth? There's Bertil Fox, food for thought again, but they're not in this competition. But a little extra look. Lee did look a little flat there, didn't he? Now here's the back shots. Here's the ones we were missing. Mohamed, a rare glimpse of him hitting a... Now look, he won't hit it. You see that? Twisting back and forth. They didn't have a bad rear double by. I don't know why he didn't strike it. And close-up shot of Lee. Lee won the rear double by. There's no doubt, guys. He didn't beat Samir, though. Lat. A little flat for just the split second I could see Lee Haney's back. Look at that. Even the quality looks better. Frank Zane there. Jusip Wilkosh. Samir Bernou. Bertil Fox. Now side tricep. Look at that, huh? Yes, Lee very flat. He improved that shot tenfold. Samir looks good in that one as well. So does Bertil. That would have been a hard one to judge, the side tricep. Lee definitely was not winning it. This one's going to Mohamed, the ab and thigh. He might even beat Frank Zane in this one. A lot of good ab and thighs out there. So that's basically all we have for footage. And I still would wager to say I have Lee ahead by 1 point. So how did Mohamed sneak by Lee Haney? Did you see that? He snuck by him. I think that could be contributed to his impressive posing routine. Much better than Lee Haney's. So depending on how much emphasis you place on the posing routines, I think it was a just victory for Mohamed Makkawy. And another food for thought here, and I know your thoughts are going to be so full by the end of this one, but Mohamed Makkawy, he not only beat Lee Haney, who eventually became a Mr. Olympia champion, but Mohamed beat more Olympia champions that eventually became Olympia champions or prior than anybody in the history of bodybuilding. He beat Larry Scott, he beat them all. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Mohamed Makkawy, one of the great ones for sure. One of the only 2 men to ever beat Lee Haney on the Olympia stage. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. Hit thumbs up if you did. And thanks for the fan that requested this one. And I'm sorry it took me a little bit longer than I would like, but busy. Hit thumbs up, subscribe. Here I am.